quantity here, but after his 13 points and 5 assists and 5 steals and 5 for 5 from the free throw line and superb quickness, why he lit up the assembly hall fast.
He's going to be a big factor. Yesterday scored 13 points on the Dowdy. Ron, how do you feel about this young man?
Well, Dowdy, again, fits that mold, that kind of player who came down here without the reputation that Joe Stiffen had, but he's a coach's player, as there are many of these players who are coach's players down here. We recognize the blue-collar kinds of things that they do and the contribution that they make to their teams.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight for the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
We have ourselves a matchup of two very quick teams. We pointed out the leading scorer for the Lions is silky smooth Ivan Stone. The leading scorer for the Commandos is super powerful Joe Stiffen, the contrasting styles both on the inside. Now let's go back to Tom Trent.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's meet the coaches and players involved in our first semifinal round game of the day. First for the Lions of Peoria High School, with a record of 27 wins, only 3 losses. The head coach of the Lions, Chuck Bisher. Number 12, Dennis Broadnax. Number 20, Rich Keller. Number 22, Chuck Edmonds. Number 32, Ricky Thomas. Number 42, Bob Donaldson. Number 50, Tony Foote. Number 52, John Offit. And now the starting lineup for the Peoria Lions. At forward, a senior, 5'10", number 24, Tim Williams.
Tim Williams, a very valuable performer, averaging 7.1.
At forward, a senior, 6'5", number 34, Ivan Stone.
Stone hammered in 28 points in the quarterfinals.
Starting at center for the Lions, a senior, 6'3", number 40, Lamont Hansen.
He plays bigger than that around the basket, averaging 12 a game.
At a guard, a senior, 5'6½", number 10, Steve Harvey.
He puts the go-go in the Lions. Steve Harvey, the quarterback.
And a guard for the Lions, a senior, 5'10½", number 14, Tony Weisinger.
Weisinger, the best outside threat, shot in 13 against St. Joe Westchester. The Lions of Peoria Central. Now we'll take a listen to the lineup from Marshall.
Now let's meet the Commandos of Marshall High School, who enter the game with a record of 27 wins, 4 losses. The head coach at Marshall High School, Luther Bedford. Number 10, Jerome Dowdy. Number 12, Zachary Miller. Number 30, James Scott. Number 33, Stanley Frazier. Number 34, Edward Jones. Number 41, Joseph Young. Number 43, Martin Kofer. And now the starting lineup for the Marshall Commandos. At forward, a senior, 6'2", number 31, Kenneth Mixon.
Averages 13 points per outing.
At forward, a senior, 6'4", number 32, Kevin Rice.
Rice shoots at 57% and 15 a game.
Starting in center for the Commandos, a senior, 6'3", number 44, Joe Stiffen.
A great leaper with 20 against Elgin in the quarterfinals.
At guard, a senior, 5'10", number 22, Michael Dowdy.
Dowdy carries a gaudy 17-point-a-game average.
And at guard for the Commandos, a senior, 6 feet tall, number 21, Anthony Upshaw.
Here's a co-captain and the leader, 6.7 points per outing. The Commandos of Chicago Marshall.
The officials for this semifinal game are Marvin Carlson of Lombard and Jim Wendt of LaGrange.
We'll have the tip-off of Game 1 in the semis. One of your network sponsors is Country Compass, Central Illinois, Marshall of Cook County, the Chicago Public League, of course, the big city of Chicago. The lineups to start for the Commandos: Mixon and Rice, the big shoulders of Joe Stiffen in the middle, Dowdy and Upshaw at the guards. The Lions have Williams and Stone at the forwards, Hanson in the middle, Harvey and Weisinger, the gunslingers outside. The maroons, it-colored Lions, the white-clad Commandos. Quarterfinal game number 1. Marshall starts with the ball. Mixon is 31. Stiffen is 44, and he's their key man.
And Peoria is in the same type of zone in which they used yesterday. It features the point guard at the top, a 1-2-2 type zone, number 34, Ivan Stone at the top of the zone.
2 shots by Marshall, the second by Mixon, rebounded by Harvey. Lions push it up the court. Weisinger stops and pops. Peoria draws first blood and quickly back down the court with a running one-hander. The Commandos get a rebound up and in by Kenneth Mixon. Dowdy shot the ball outside. Mixon rebounded it home. And we start up tempo, and a steal in the backcourt nicely by Anthony Upshaw. Upshaw gives inside to Kevin Rice, and the ball hit off Rice's leg, and it goes to the Peoria Central Lions.
This game is off to a roaring start.
These teams are really lightning fast, both of them. I remember once out at USC when I was there, somebody said, "What is O.J. Simpson's number?" And the guy said, "If you got time to see the number, it ain't O.J." And a little bit like this, these teams are both just jet quick. Steve Harvey is 10. And in the corner, Weisinger can shoot from most places. Rebounded Joe Stiffen. He'll be a dominant player in most games he plays in. He takes it all the way down the court and charges. Tony Weisinger stood there, and Stiffen really ripped him.
Here we see Joe coming down the middle on this, and of course what is needed here is the thing we talked about yesterday, the old-fashioned PJ. That pull-up jumper would avoid that charge.
It's 2-2 at the 6:42 mark, and we're just underway.
Or the Blue Jay would have worked there well, too.
Well, the Blue Jay would have worked in that situation, right?
Trap on the half court by the Marshall Commandos, and they're going to fall back into a zone. Quickly on the left, the Lions are moving the ball now, looking inside for Ivan Stone and Lamont Hanson, their big players inside. I say big in relative manner. Here's a lob inside to Stone, and a whistle first, and a foul is going to go against Kenneth Mixon, trying to keep Ivan Stone from the ball as Chuck Fisher sits down very little. The Lions will keep the ball. This is the semifinals. The winner plays for the championship tonight. The loser will play in the third place game. We'll carry them both. Harvey and Weisinger outside. The zone is essentially a 2-1-2 or maybe a 1-2-2. They shift.
Probably a 1-2-2 at this point. They shift around so much, and their quickness is so great. Sometimes it's difficult to determine exactly what it is.
Harvey, who played so very well yesterday, slides in the seam of the zone and put it up, but it was partially blocked. But Harvey got it back, gives a head fake, gives it to Stone for a short one. Lamont Hansen is rebounding, and a foul is on Kevin Rice of the Commandos.
We'll see that shot being taken from the side, and here again, as we referred to in the past, when that shot's taken off on that side, you got to have position on the weak side, because that's where the missed shot's going to come off, and of course he went over the top.
A quick 3 team fouls on the Commandos. Hansen's inside for a 5-footer in the paint, and the rebound Stiffen on the other end alone is Upshaw for a layup.
Well, that's the 2 points that belong to Joe Stiffen. The defensive rebound, the great outlet pass, and an easy score.
He looks like a short Wesley Unseld. He just tore the ball off the bank board and threw it down the court so easily, and Upshaw had an easy layup. Rice tried to shut that down, and the Lions retain control. Marshall 4, Peoria Central 2, 5:16 to go, opening period. Frank Bissoni, along with Art Kimball and Coach Ron Nikovich of Lions Township of LaGrange. Weisinger's shot is short. Williams tipped it in.
Tip.
Tim Williams at 5'10" found a place.
That quickness not only on the floor, but off the floor.
Mixon comes right baseline, swirls into the lane with a 360 move to the paint.
Great move.
4 points for Mixon, and Marshall has a 2-point lead. You get the feeling this is going to be an explosive basketball game.
It is already.
Central in the maroon red, trimmed in white. Marshall in the white.
I get the feeling too, Frank, that these kids are enjoying every minute of this.
There's no question of that. Lamont Hansen misses. Rice kicks it ahead to the running Mixon. Here comes Mixon with a one-hander.
See what I mean? Showtime.
A little French pastry, and Mixon put on his Dr. J, and it's 8-4 Marshall. A foul in the backcourt on Michael Dowdy.
Once that adrenaline gets flowing, you're apt to see anything going. And there we see that Dr. J treatment coming up on this little finger swirl type layup that probably gymnastics-wise is a 9.9 anyway, I guess.
4:08 to play in the opening quarter. The talent is here. The quickness is here. The coaching is here. Weisinger delivers a shot, and Stiffen boards out of bounds the Lions. Stiffen couldn't keep control.
The rebounding is just vicious. Not in the sense that it's unclean, but they're really going for that ball in a very hard fashion.
Here's a lob inside to Stone, and he's hacked by Anthony Upshaw. Ivan Stone is a marked man by the Commandos.
Yeah, he is, and of course when he goes to the free throw line, he'll be risking yesterday's 12 for 12, and you know, that's Mr. Cool at the free throw line. He's comfortable there.
Central is already on the bonus, gentlemen. That is team foul number 5 on Marshall, but fortunately for the Commandos, they have spread the 5 fouls around, 1 each.
And Ivan Stone will shoot 1 in bonus. Try to get the Lions within 2.
Well, he's got it going.
He's still perfect in the tournament.
Well, Chuck Fisher admitted yesterday's ball game really pleased him. His club played so extremely well. Of course, that's got to worry you as a coach a little bit too, doesn't it, Ron?
Yeah, it certainly does. I think their quickness is a real intimidating factor.
2 free throws by Ivan Stone makes Marshall's lead 8-6. And there's the pressure by the Lions in the backcourt now.
That's
Marshall loses it. Stone just took it away in the middle of the court. He's free at the foul line. Yes.
That's Mr. Cool. You know, he made the key steal and just brought it right up into the Blue Jay area, Art.
That's right.
He had 2-8 yesterday. Rice shoots and misses. Nice rebound by Upshaw for 2. He picked it off the floor and put it in.
Very alert play.
Upshaw is a pretty good ball player, Frank. We haven't talked a lot about him, but he does a lot of things for Marshall.
He has 4. 10-8. The Commandos take the lead. It's 3:20 to play, opening period. Weisinger is open, but he missed. The ball is right here in front of us to Steve Harvey. Harvey backs in, gives it to Weisinger. Weisinger will not stop shooting that outside shot when he's that wide open.
He's not off by much. He's just off a hair.
The zone is packed in, and Williams tries out of the corner. Look at Stone rebound. It's loose. Who's got it? Foul on Mixon.
There's plenty of action under the basket. It's fast and it's furious.
We got green one, white right there.
Second foul on Ken Mixon. And this sends the Lions back to the stripe where they were so successful yesterday.
Hate to keep dwelling on the foul situation, which I have throughout the tournament, but Marshall with 16 fouls, Peoria Central with none, and those fouls are going to cut Marshall's size advantage down a little bit as they go along.
It happened yesterday, too, didn't it?
Absolutely. Central goes to the line 41 times yesterday.
Williams missed a free throw. Stone tipped it back to Williams very alertly, then sets up a low post. A skip pass intercepted by Anthony Upshaw, and here comes Mixon. Look at the transition. Dowdy,
Great pass, just a great pass. Guess you call that a pull-up pass.
Boy, Michael Dowdy just found that. Now here's Upshaw with a near steal in the backcourt. There's defensive ability on both ends. Weisinger outside. 2:30 to play. Marshall 12, Peoria Central 8. Semifinal first game. In the second, Harvey Thornton, Springfield Lanphier. That'll be a knockhead special.
Oh, I'll say.
They are both big and strong and talented. Stone is talented there. He gives back out to Weisinger. Harvey hangs it up a pass to Williams. His shot is not there. And the rebound is to the Commandos at the 2:05 mark. Central shot just a little short today.
Well, we finally get a look at that zone again. We haven't seen a set defense for such a long time. And Ivan Stone, the center, I referred to him as a guard earlier. I didn't mean that. He's the center playing at the top of that zone.
Dowdy hits outside. And that was a nice long shot by Dowdy of 4 points for him, 14-8 in favor of the Commandos. And now the Lions will have to come back. Harvey splits two and gives to Williams. They look inside. Hansen wants the ball. He turns, and is the shot blocked by Ken Rice. Nicely done by Rice. Kevin Rice with the block. Up ahead to Rice, and he walked.
It's one of those anxiety plays, I think.
Coming in for the Lions, 12. Dennis Broadneck. Steve Harvey gets a rest, and coming in for the Commandos, Martin Kofer, 43. And at that, we have a timeout with 1:22 to go in the first period. It's Marshall by 6, and one of your network sponsors, 6-point lead. They're favored. The Peoria Central Lions came into the tournament not highly regarded, but after yesterday's performance went from long shot to big shot. And it's 1:22 in the first quarter. It's been a fun game already.
It certainly has, and these kids are enjoying every minute of it. I know the fans are, and I certainly am.
Ivan Stone comes to help in the backcourt. If you just joined us, it's Peoria Central in the maroon. It's the Chicago Commando Marshall team in the white. Here's the jump shot by Ivan Stone, and it's all net. He's so stylish.
Very much so. Very cool player.
He has 6. He had 28 against St. Joe. 14-10 Marshall. 1 minute first quarter. Kofer lobs inside. Mixon steps in, wheels around. This is a fancy shot inside. Central rebound.
Well, that one gone in. That would have been a 9.9.
At least. Maybe a perfect 10, huh?
Williams is free, and his shot is way short. And Mixon rebounds. Stiffen streaks to the other end.
25 years ago, in Old Huff Gym, Marshall became the first public league team to ever win a state championship.
And on this day, March 19th of 1977, the Lions of Central beat the Lions of Lanphier for the state championship.
What a traditional Final Four, huh?
Really. Now 20 seconds. The zone pushes Marshall outside. They want one shot. 14 seconds. Stiffen Kern was going to take the shot, and it went off. Williams awarded to the Commandos.
Well, it's no doubt as to where they want that ball to go in that kind of a situation. No doubt as to where they want the ball to go right now as well.
That'll be 44, Joe Stiffen, if they can. In the corner, it's Dowdy. Now there's 10.
Back into the middle to Joe.
Upshaw looking for Stiffen. There's this pass stolen by Stone. There's 4 seconds on the clock. 3 interception and a foul. Wait a minute. Traveling with 1 second against Marshall. Peoria High will have a ball and a chance for a shot with 1 second.
Could have been a third foul on Mixon in that collision. So actually, I'm sure Luther Bedford, who's up on the edge of the floor right now, happy with the traveling call.
Let's see where the ball goes. The shot is up too late by Lamont Hansen, and that's the end of quarter 1 of our first semifinal with the score. Marshall 14, Peoria Central 10, and the Peoria Central Lions couldn't get their shots to drop, and they are 4 points behind the Marshall Commandos.
those shots will be dropping, and those shooters who were shooting those shots, I'm certain will continue to fire away as this ball game progresses. Weisinger wasn't off by much.
So we're set for the second 8 minutes of play. Peoria High in the maroon or red, and Marshall in the white. Stiffen goes up and commands the tip to Kofer. Now Mixon gives back inside, and it's smothered quickly by the Lions, but picked back up by Upshaw for 2.
Well, they're winning the battle with a loose ball.
Now Marshall by 6 with pressure on three-quarter or half-court. There's a trap right there. They've got Broadnex in trouble, and he stepped over the line, over and back, and the Marshall defense wins.
A great trap. A great trap. They sealed off, got him into the corner, and sealed off all potential avenues to release the ball.
And so Marshall has a chance to take an 8-point lead. This is Upshaw, their guard at 6 foot. He's a senior, a co-captain. He works against Weisinger. Dowdy swirls around and gives to Kofer, and he beat him to the baseline, lays it up and in.
That's a 9.9.
Kofer with a left-hander. 18-10 is Marshall's advantage. And the cold shooting Lions must start warming it up. Charging foul, Broadnex. And the roll is going to the Commandos.
And here again, Peoria is being trapped in that classic trap area.
Here's your statistics. Peoria, 4 of 16, only 25% the first quarter. Marshall answered 7 of 12, 58%. The Lions made 2 free throws. The rebounds were exactly even in the turnovers. Marshall 6, Peoria Central 3. But the cold shooting, 25% to 58, and Harvey returns for the Lions. Broadnex is out.
And the last 2 turnovers Marshall has really earned.
Good defense by the Commandos, and they could now take a 10-point advantage in the early going. And if you recall, that's what they did to Elgin yesterday. They jumped on them for a 10-point lead.
We saw that throughout the opening round yesterday.
Look at Mixon go inside. And I think he was fouled by Tony Weisinger of the Lions as he went to the basket. They're having no trouble getting inside.
On the replay, we'll see that the Marshall player takes the ball inside, and just a little nudge there on there took the ball over on the other side and prevented it from going in.
6 points in the game for Mixon, who's come out of the chute very well.
Talking to Luther Bedford, Frank, before this ball game, the Marshall coach, he didn't think his club played all that well against Elgin yesterday, but he felt it was a rather typical Marshall game, second half of the season, efficient. They never really, you never had the feeling yesterday they were in real trouble, and they're starting to take command here.
Play hard and win. 20-10, the Commandos by 10, and the Lions need a hoop this time down the court.
Of course, Luther also admitted coaches are never happy with the way you play.
Oh, no, wait a minute.
Ron, of course, is an exception to that.
That's why my hair is black.
A couple of W's is all people could ask for in the world today as a head coach.
At least you have hair. That tells you what the tougher business is, friends.
Here comes Williams on the right side to Weisinger, who starts in. The zone is tough. Weisinger weaves his way to Harvey. The Lions trying to find a place in the zone that they can get a shot from. It gets into Williams, who shoots it up. It rolls in, and it counts.
They really earned that one. They worked awfully hard for that basket. Great passing flow. Watch the flow. I don't know if the rerun will get the complete flow of the ball, but I think it was the passing that paid off for that kind of a basket. A great play.
Foul is on Kofer. 7th foul. It'll be a shot coming up here as Kevin Rice in. And Mixon gets a rest for the Commandos. Country Companies Insurance is presenting IHSA basketball for the 12th consecutive year. And your local Country Companies agent hopes you're enjoying our telecast. We sure hope you're watching tonight as we decide the state champion for 1983. Williams, a 3-point play, and once again shows that he plays taller than 5'10". Stiffen at center court. And the Lions can't handle Marshall this time down. 20-13. The Commandos. Stiffen in the lane, turns and puts it off the board.
Once the ball starts going into his hands to a greater degree of regularity, we may see a real bust out on Marshall's part.
That's the first 2 points of the game for Stiffen, so he wasn't a factor in their early 10-point advantage in terms of scoring points. He's always a factor when he's around the basket, intimidating. Weisinger.
There it goes.
4 points for Tony.
I think he's warming up.
Well, he's been a remarkable shooter all season long for the Lions. Now they look inside, and Stiffen turns on a fadeaway that's rolling in. Stiffen with a good touch.
He really squared up beautifully on a tough shot.
24-15, as you see, with 5:28 to play in the first half. Ivan Stone answers.
Mr. Stone's cool.
He played 32 minutes of hard-nosed basketball on both ends yesterday and wasn't even perspiring.
He never does.
Here's a pass to the center and kicked out to Dowdy. Stop, and he shoots it home from 15 feet on the left wing. Marshall shooting a brilliant percentage.
He willed that one in.
26-17. I like that. You can see the body language he was using.
He followed through and just kept with it all the way. Never quit.
4:55 in the first half. The assembly hall is filling up. I don't mean to say that there's not a lot of empty seats, but they're still coming in, and we're going to have a big house for our semifinal when they all get here. 12,400 for last night's session here at the hall. The Lions with it, looking to cut into that 9-point Marshall lead. They need to get the ball in the hands of Stone and Weisinger, and Tony shoots it in again.
He's warming up. He's right there.
Half a dozen for Weisinger, who averages 14. Here's a nice move by Dowdy. He beat 3 men down the court. That finds Stiffen along the baseline for a layup that didn't go. And Hansen rebounds.
A little too hard, but great body control for Joe on that one.
Stiffen is just a remarkable looking athlete. Can Tony Weisinger make it 3 in a row?
3 in a row.
And all of a sudden the lead is 5 as Weisinger has built his point total to 8. Luther Bedford wants to stop play, and he does at the 4:06 mark as the Lions answer. It's Marshall by 5, and one of your network sponsors is Country Companies Insurance. 7:01. Box 678, Bloomington 61701. Frank Bissoni along with Art Kimball and Coach Ron Nikovich of Lions of LaGrange. It's 4:06 to go in the first half, and Tony Weisinger has cut that Marshall lead down to 5.
Yeah, he certainly has. He's warmed up. He wasn't missing by much in the first quarter, and of course this time around he's right on the beam.
Here's a traveling violation against Stiffen, and the Lions will have it again. Some of these shooters are just remarkable. You could see Bayes last night, and you could see some of the others. When they get on their game, it looks like they could throw the ball through the hoop from a moving cab.
And I think the reason for that is because the technique and the fundamentals with which they shoot is so outstanding that percentage and consistency will always be there.
Great steal by the Stiffen, and the Commandos come down. Pull-up jumper right there by Dowdy, rolling home.
That's the PJ, Frank.
Michael Dowdy, who averages 17, has 8 in the first half. Marshall by 7. Zone defense stays 1-2-2 essentially.
It sure has a lot of different configurations to it. With that kind of quickness out there, it's difficult sometimes to tell exactly what it is.
Hansen made a really big, strong move to the hoop, and Kevin Rice banged him inside.
And I think the difference that we're going to see in the replay now on this shot by Hansen is the hang time. Watch the hang time. A little double pump and just hung in there long enough to draw the foul. He knew he wasn't going to get the shot off, but he hung in there.
The second foul on Kevin Rice. Hansen goes 6'3" and 190. His foul shot is not in. He's a 72% free throw shooter. And Lamont Hansen is looking for his first point of the game. Upshaw went out. And Jerome Dowdy, 10, in, a junior for the Commandos. 3-shot down by Hansen. The lead for Marshall is 6. The ball tipped out of bounds by Steve Harvey of the Lions. As the defense is a constant in this game. Both teams play it. Both teams play it well, and I'm sure it's what has brought them this far, at least to a large extent.
Young Mr. Harvey plays nonstop, doesn't he? Coast to coast.
He really does. He's 5'6½". And that goes to show you can make great contributions in this sport without being a giant.
With that kind of quickness, wow.
Oh, here's a traveling violation on Jerome Dowdy in the front court. And with 3:01, the Lions have a chance to cut the lead to 4. Look at this defense. It's a trap.
It's waiting for that center line trap. If they can get the ball into that classic corner, they'll trap it.
Dowdy fell down. Weisinger kept moving. Weisinger's on the right wing, and they kept mixing out on him. Here's Stone being stripped inside by Strong Stiffen. And look at the Commandos make the transition, but the pass is wild. There's the turnover.
Been watching Michael Dowdy out there for Marshall very closely. He is a brilliant playmaker. Now that time he just a little bit too much lead on the pass, but he looks one way, passes the other with extreme accuracy.
It's too bad there weren't people on the wings because too much center play in a fast break will result in a play getting broken up that way. Everyone was in the middle of the floor.
We have 2:25 to play in the first half of our first semifinal game, and Marshall leads Central, and Central trying to come back, traveling on Lamont Hansen as he got the basket down along the baseline.
But just as soon as young Mr. Hansen gets himself involved in the game offensively, it could create a real swing for Peoria.
We'll watch for that as a key. Hansen has 1 point in the first half, and he's a capable scorer, averages 12 a game.
So far, he and Joe have been rather silent in that regard.
They're both very strong. Stiffen is the best leaper in the tournament with a 40-inch vertical jump. This is absolutely amazing. There's the foul on Stone, and Stiffen's strong enough to still get it off and nearly get it in. Ivan Stone.
We'll see on the replay that Joe's strength, Joe Stiffen, of course, his strength is such in a simple little ball fake, drew the defense off the ground, and of course potentially a three-point play there because that shot wasn't too far off.
Take a look at his upper legs, Coach. Muscle that's there is.
Yeah, I'll tell you, if George Allen and those guys are around, look out, Joe.
May end up with a blitz, huh?
He's bigger than a free safety. He might be a linebacker.
Yeah, he couldn't play free safety. He hurt somebody back there.
He'd be great in any sport, I think. He's an outstanding athlete.
You know, I think that's a very good observation. I don't believe there's a sport I could think of that he couldn't play. 30-22, the Commandos. 2:03 to go in the first half. Look at the full court pressure now. And Weisinger explodes out of it. Weisinger quickly down. Under 2 minutes. Set play for the Lions. They stack 3 men on the left side of the lane, and they run Harvey away from it. They're going to pop out Stone, lob down low to Hansen. Turn around, one-hander. Williams rebounds and scores.
Rebound. That's the second time he's done that today at 5'8", 5'10". Really an excellent offensive rebound and contribution by Tim Williams. 1:30 now in the first half. Marshall by 6 in the ball. The Lions and the Commandos both featuring that fierce defense. Jerome Dowdy with the ball on your screen, and there you see him move the ball to the corner to Michael Dowdy for a shot that didn't go. Ivan Stone finds the rebound. And Tony Weisinger found his spot. He's got it, 4 for 4. That same spot is right there.
Weisinger with 10, 30-26. And Tony Weisinger warms up the Assembly Hall.
He's an outstanding player, Frank.
He's an excellent player in virtually every phase of the game. He's a fine defensive player. He's got quickness. I guess the only thing against him is the fact that he's not 6'3" when you talk major college, but I think he's a Division I player.
He certainly is. He has all the attributes of a Division I player except for that. But you know, without that and the great quickness is such a great compensating factor.
I remember one coach once said there are 2 kinds of teams, the quick and the dead.
Pretty accurate, too.
Tonight we'll have the 3rd place game. We'll be on at 6:15 for that, and then the championship. Who will it be? 2 of these teams.
Oh, that lob pass in this kind of a situation isn't what you want, nor too much dribbling.
Now 10 seconds. Mixon goes in and shoots and scores.
He really squared up well. Here's a steal.
Here's a steal. Another shot. It's Dowdy. Good again. Dowdy at the gun. And a big turnaround for the Commandos. And they go down at the halftime with a lead over Peoria Central, 34-26. And what a flurry at the end for the Commandos.
Best thing about that, as far as Peoria is concerned, is that the horn went. because just as soon as a roll develops like that, that could have been a 10-point run.
We're going to come back with our halftime in a moment. One of your network sponsors is for the Commandos. Mixon with 10 points in a brilliant half. 2 fouls. Rice didn't score, had 2 fouls. Stiffen, the center, with 6 points and 1 foul. Michael Dowdy, a great contribution from outside with 10 points and a foul. Upshaw, 6 points. Kofer with 2, each with 1 foul. They spread the fouls well, 10 by 2. For the Central Lions, it was Weisinger with 10 to lead the way, had 1 foul. Ivan Stone with 8. Tim Williams with a good half with 7. Lamont Hansen didn't get involved in the offense, only 1 point. Dennis Broadnex came off the bench, got a foul, and Steve Harvey didn't score in the first half of play. That's the individuals, and we'll be back in a moment. One of your network sponsors is DeKalb, Pfizer, Chile 25 to 45, 11 of 24 in the free throw department. 4 for 4, 100%, 4 of 6, 66. Rebounding and favors the Lions by 4. Turnover time, they're down by 8. Ron Nikovich, and we should have a very good second half.
We certainly should, and I really look forward to Peoria coming back into it, and perhaps rather quickly too. I think the key to the outcome of the ball game will be the degree to which they eat into that 8-point lead within the first 3 or 4 minutes of the opening period of the second half.
Okay, Hansen was held to a point in the first half. They got a fine game inside from Tim Williams, the Lions. He had 5 rebounds in the first half. That matched Mixon, the leading rebounders in the first half of play. It's Joe Stiffen in the middle against Lamont Hansen. The final half for one of these teams. Title hopes. Here's the tip. It goes to Marshall, and that's Upshaw to Dowdy, and they set it up. The zone remains a constant for the Lions with Ivan Stone at the top of it.
It's still not perspiring, I might add.
Marshall attacking the zone. Trying to look inside to Rice posted up. Dowdy outside. Rebound Hansen. Who will draw first blood second half? Both these teams play with such confidence. You look at them, they look like they expect to win.
They all have that look in their eyes, don't they?
The intensity is there.
The intensity, right.
They have confidence. Both teams are well schooled. Along the baseline, that's Stone and Weisinger. They're on the same side, and they're the best 2 scorers that Chuck Bisher has for the Lions. They're being very patient. This zone is more clearly a 1-2-2 formation now, but it does.
But on the other hand, Peoria, of course, is more patient than they were at the many stages during the first half, and consequently, the zone has greater degree of definition now.
Weisinger is still there.
5 for 5.
There's Tony, and he's got a dozen, and Lamont Hansen just stole a pass. Now the Lions could cut the lead to 4.
It's that center court pass again.
Ivan Stone hangs it up. The rebound comes down to the Commandos. So alertly, Hansen picked one off, but the Lions couldn't get it down to 4. Luther Bedford's not happy with what he's seeing. He went up and said something to a couple of his players and now sits down. Lob inside Rice, up and down. Rebound Dowdy inside. Missed it, Stiffen. Now Hansen, 3 cracks for the Commandos. Now Harvey needs help in the backcourt and nobody noticed it. Williams and Weisinger. Weisinger's got the rhythm. You can tell both of these teams will fight to the death. You can just feel that they won't go down easy. Weisinger left wing.
Well, he found a new spot.
And the Commandos rebound. 34 for Marshall, 28 for Peoria Central. 5:42 to play, third quarter. Frank Bissoni, along with Art Kimball and Coach Ron Nikovich of Lyons Township High School of LaGrange. Inside it goes to Stiffen, and he just muscled in 2.
Yeah, that's going to be a real key, too, for Marshall's fortunes, of course, the degree to which they can successfully get the ball inside the blue to Joe and getting that power move under.
He has only 8 points thus far.
Lamont Hansen's shot is rejected by Mixon. But the Lions keep control. Inside jump ball as Tim Williams is pinned by fierce Joe Stiffen.
Joe really didn't have to do too much on this one, as you'll see in the replay. Just merely went around the backside, waited for that ball to go up, and just kind of knocked it back down again without any body whatsoever. Plenty of clearance between the 2 young players.
Like trying to shoot a jump shot in a tunnel.
Jerry Wheatley, our director, and we thank you and the crew for all the help in the series. Jan Morrow, our assistant producer. Brad Johansson, statistician. Here's a charging foul being called on 22. Michael Dowdy, who got an eye for the rim and really turned it on. As Chuck Vischer of the Lions leans back. John Deere and your local John Deere dealer are happy to have you with us for this Class AA tourney. Be sure to join us tonight at 6:15 for the consolation, followed by the championship of '83. Marshall by 8. 5 minutes. Harvey intercepted it, and the Commandos run after it, track it down, give it to Dowdy, to Mixon for 2. And Marshall leads by 10. A dozen for Mixon. Marshall playing much better than even they did yesterday. Williams outside to Harvey. Now the Lions must cut into a 10-point advantage as Williams' shot is short, and the rebounding belongs to the men in white. Dowdy in a swirl in the lane. Stiffen handled the dish off, and they're under control again.
I think they're showing at the outset of this half a greater degree of poise than we'd earlier seen.
Mixon twice. Foul the Lions.
They're more patient. Their judgment is better too.
They eliminated Elgin 59-46 yesterday, and they have the Peoria Central Lions on the ropes. But there's plenty of time because we're only in the third quarter, and there's timeout on the court at 4:16 to go. Marshall's got the lead by 10. One of your network sponsors is John Deere. State championship title. The Marshall Commandos have a 10-point lead in the third quarter over the Peoria Central Lions. 4:16 to play.
And Marshall has increased their lead by 2 within the first 4 minutes of this third quarter. It's only been a 4-2 run for the first 4 minutes of this quarter, but I think Peoria has really got to eat into that lead now at this particular point in time.
Mixon, who's had a fine game, missed the front end of the two-shotter.
However, with their quickness, that explosion can take place at any time.
They can turn the ball over, as we've seen in the St. Joseph Westchester game, and the Lions have got a couple of guys that can put them down. So let's see if they can fight back into it now.
And here comes that half-court trap by Marshall.
That's been a real factor in the game. It's interrupted the flow of the Lions offense. They fall back into a zone from the trap, and it's extended somewhat. They can push your offense out to the lobby when they get out to half court with it.
But on the other hand, it will open up Stone and Hanson inside, as it did that time.
Foul is on Kevin Rice, picked up the foul. His third foul. And the Lions have it at the top is Tim Williams. He turns and shoots.
Squared up beautifully for that shot.
Tim Williams with 9. He's had a good game. Had a good tournament for that matter.
Had 5 rebounds the first half for a little fella. That's a good day's work.
Marshall by 8. 3:30 to play. Third quarter. This game will be followed by Thornton against Lanphier. Both 28-3 and both capable of winning it all. Inside stolen pass by Ivan Stone. The quick hands of Ivan Stone pick one off. Here's Weisinger on the move. Lamont Hansen steps in. Is fouled. The foul, I believe, is on Stiffen. As Lamont Hansen made a move to the goal, Stiffen fouled him, his second. There's strength on strength with Hansen and Stiffen as Luther Bedford talks to Joe Stiffen.
When worlds collide.
Well, speaking of strength, Thornton is coming up next. They have a center that's 6'8" and 220. They have a forward who's 6'5" and 200. The Lanphier Lions, they have 6'7" and 6'8" up front. They have a guard that's 6'5".
That'll be a classic at Common.
Lamont Hansen trying to cut the lead now to 6. He converts. 3:10. And here come the Commandos, the Public League champions. Stiffen at the high post turns. Busting out for the set the low post was Mixon, and he wanted that ball down there.
You see Peoria in a man-to-man. They're out of the zone.
First time, and a steal by Tim Williams.
Overplayed beautifully, anticipated the pass and gave them what they needed, and that's why they're in the man-to-man now.
They shut that pass down, and the zone stays for the Commandos. Williams wants to do it. Now he does it.
He's doing a lot of things today.
He's in double figures with 11. The lead is shaved to 4 at 2:30 to play here in the third quarter. And now let's see if the Commandos did what they did against Elgin. When they were challenged, they pulled back to their 10-point lead.
They sure did.
They played up to their competition level and then some.
Well, what they haven't done yet is to adjust their offense against this man-to-man.
Inside Mixon, he's got a free shot.
But they did that time.
Kenneth Mixon has showed his stuff. He's got 14, and he's a good player.
Here comes the half-court trap again by Marshall.
40-34. The clock says 2 minutes, third quarter. You can feel the drama building as the building fills up. Harvey looks for help. Harvey swings it over to Williams. Williams has become a good scoring guard or forward, however you care to list him, player.
He's an all-everything type.
He does a little bit of everything.
He's just a player's player.
He and Ken Mixon have really been the stars of this ball game.
Actually,
their respective teams.
He didn't start earlier in the season. Tony Foote was the starter, a 6'4" player. Brought Williams off the bench. Baseline. Now Harvey down to 120. 6-point lead for Marshall. Weisinger turns. I think Chuck Vischer would like the third quarter to end with his team only 4 points behind. He'd be very happy.
Wouldn't be a bad idea at this stage either. Of course, there's still a lot of time to go in a quarter.
Minute 5. Inside is Hansen. He is fouled. Fouled by Stiffen. Stiffen didn't give Hansen any room in there. That's the third on Big Joe. Marshall has lost to Gary West of Indiana, Chicago Young, Chicago Collins, and Peoria Manuel. Central has lost to Peoria Manuel twice and to Quincy. Stiffen goes out with 3 fouls. Martin Kofer, 43, comes in, a 6'4" senior. The Lions have it under their own goal. 1 minute. Weisinger, dead corner. Rebound Stone, up and down and missed. Another rebound,
Just
goal!
a great tip.
Hansen.
Great tip.
With 50 seconds.
He never quit on it. He never quit on it. Just hung in there.
Give Hansen a brilliant tip in. 44 seconds. Now Marshall hurries down the court. Will they take one shot? They're ahead by 4. They led at the half by 8. Central's cut the lead in half. But here comes Mixon. Oh, a nice play.
Great play. Great play. The middle was just simply too open there. He needed some help on that. Didn't get it.
16 points for Mixon. 20 seconds. Now the Lions will try to cut it to 4 once more. And Chuck Vischer says, one shot, please. You see him in the lower left corner of your screen. There he is. Says 1. Calls out an offense. 10 seconds. Watch it be Weisinger or Stone.
Or a tip-in by Hansen.
Here's Stone, a fadeaway. Short. Tipped up by Hansen, just missed the call, coach at the gun. And at the end of 3 periods, Marshall 42, Peoria Central 36. One of your network sponsors in the first semifinal, the Final 4. Marshall has the lead of 6, and they have 8 minutes to become 1 of 2 for the state champion. They are in white. Peoria Central, 6 points behind, has to rally. Jerry Schnee of the Chicago Tribune wrote in his pre-tournament article, quoting Naismith, the bard of basketball, you never win in tournament play. You only survive to lose another day. And the ball is in the air.
Well, Jerry's old enough to have known Mr. Naismith.
We saw Jerry this morning and had a nice chat with him. He has enjoyed this tournament just like all of us have.
Great tournament.
I'm not sure Naismith ever really said that.
I'm not sure Naismith ever knew what a tournament was either.
Williams faked the shot, now steps in, gives it to Stone, inside, rejected by Stiffen, but the basket counts. It's called goaltending.
Well,
Stiffen went up and got it, got called for goaltending. Give the goal to Ivan Stone. He has 10. And it's 42-38, and Stiffen talks to the official.
Luther Bedford can't believe it. He just stood up and shook his head in front of the Marshall bench.
Joe Stiffen can get where other people can't. And Dowdy wheels up. He stays under control, and he can spin around on the dribble. He's guarded by Weisinger. and that's a good match. Look at Mixon beat Williams to the baseline for 2.
Classic one-on-one confrontation there.
Mixon at 6'3", took Williams at 5'10" to the hole.
To see on the replay, well, we missed part of it because what enabled him to get the advantage was an explosive first step. It was just a blur.
18 for Mixon, who's been the shooting star for the Marshall, and they have 61% still at 19 of 31 after 3. Peoria 15 of 36, 41. Free throwing is pretty even. Rebounding the favor of the Lions, 22 to 15 in turnovers. Marshall has 2 more. The three-point play by Mixon gives him 19 in the game and builds Marshall's lead back to 7. That was a big three-point play in this game. Now the Lions need to build their momentum back, and they need it with a hoop. Remember, coming up next, Weisinger shoots it in.
Well, that puts him 6 out of 7 of his last 7 outside shots. And he found a new spot that time.
He's up to 14 in the game. The score is there. Harvey goes after the ball like a cobra.
He gets up quicker than I fall down.
Look at the way by Weisinger. He pulled it off. He got the ball off Upshaw with a streak of quickness. And Marshall wants to stop play. Let's
great
see.
move on the part of Weisinger, and just explosive quickness there, and a courageous move too, I might add, because this table, I don't know about Weisinger, but the table may never recover.
There's your score on one of your network sponsors with timeout on the court is DeKalb Pfizer Genetics. The tape says that Joe Stiffen goaltended
Here we
or
see
not.
the goaltend on Joe Stiffen. The ball is up in the air, and it's kind of, well, of course, let the fans decide that one.
Well, I've heard fellas bob and weave before, but that takes the award.
A very definite maybe by Coach Nikovich. 6:30 to play in this game. 5 points separate them. Weisinger's shot falls short. It falls into the hands of Williams. Has it swatted away by the inside man, Kevin Rice.
Well, Peoria got lucky on that one because I don't believe that's the kind of shot that neither, looking back, Tony probably didn't like it either. I'm sure Coach Fisher did it.
8 rebounds for little Tim Williams. Inside it,
well,
Stone.
He found him.
A dozen for Ivan Stone. It's a 3-point game. Marshall leads and has the ball. Rice to the baseline. Stepped out of bounds.
That earlier poise that we alluded to in a part of Marshall early in the third quarter is beginning to evaporate here. They need to get back into that now, because right now we're looking at a 3-point game with 6 minutes to go, and it's anybody's ball game.
Marshall has 14 turnovers. Central has 9. Central will try to cut the lead to 1. The clock is at 6:02.
Peoria guards are handling that half-court trap much better than they did in the first half.
Williams on the right wing. Loading up is Weisinger. Inside is Hansen, and he is hooked by Stiffen. Hansen went to the glass, and there's Stiffen, his 4th foul.
Okay, we're going to see that pass going inside to Lamont Hansen, who, in my opinion, still remains the key in the ball game, because if he gets what he's capable of getting here in the final 6 minutes, this game could make a swift turn.
Hansen will go to the line. The Class AA tournament, co-sponsored again this year by DeKalb Pfizer Genetics and the more than 1,100 DeKalb Pfizer Genetic dealers here in Illinois. And they invite you to join us next week for the girls' championship games. Hansen missed the first.
He needs to hang in there with that shot a little bit more. I think he's quitting on it too soon. I think the follow-through's got to be a bit more intense than he's shown. And, of course, I think the pressure is beginning to develop on everybody out on the floor here.
You saw Stiffen sit. Martin Kofer returned to the floor. And Hansen delivers. A 2-point ball game with 5:49. So what else is new?
That's all we've seen.
Foul on Harvey on the fly. Harvey fouled Anthony Upshaw, Harvey's 2nd.
Only Peoria Central's 3rd foul of the second half, so Marshall not on the bonus and not really all that close to it. It's going to take 2 more.
Coach Fisher says 1. I imagine that's man-to-man. That's what it is, and it's pressure.
Into the backcourt it is.
Upshaw blows by Harvey. Here he comes. He's got Mixon ahead of him. Stop and run it up. Ivan Stone. And now the Lions can shoot for the tie. Listen to the assembly hall. Stone, 20-footer. Wasn't quite set.
got a little bit hurried that time. I think, once again, it's one of those anxiety kinds of plays that young people are prone to make, particularly in these kinds of circumstances, which I think anybody would make.
The defense never rests on either end. Marshall, the ball in a 2-point lead. Look at now. What's happening? Here's the ball on the floor. Kofor picked it quickly up.
Quick hands.
They're traveling on Anthony Upshaw. And once again, the red-clad Lions have a chance to tie the game.
That was a case of hands being too quick for the ball.
Peoria Central's Lions were called the Maroons until 1947, when a student vote changed it to the Lions. And they played like hungry Lions in this tournament. But they're down 2 right here.
Vote.
Baseline. Williams. Under 5 minutes now in the game. You see the zone for Marshall. Weisinger's on the point. Williams gives to Stone. Stone had a free shot. Now he decides to take it. Took too long. Look at Lamont Hansen. He rebounded it in, but he fouled first, and it doesn't count.
He went off the top, and it's very evident that he went off the top. And here again, we'll see in the replay that Lamont Hansen did go off the top. He did not have inside position, and of course it's plain that the foul was a justifiable call on the part of the official. But I think the last 2 shots that Central has had coming down the court, at least on the part of Ivan Stone, were probably required a little more patience, I think.
Ron, isn't Martin Kofor very important right now? He's filling in for Stiffen, and the Lions want to go inside. They may be able to do so.
They may, and of course he's not in there at this stage, but he will be flashing in there, I'm sure. And of course Joe won't be out there long.
Upshaw works against Harvey. The count is on. The clock says 4:20. The Lions hawking the man. Whistle away from the ball. Foul is on Marshall. It's on Kofor, I believe. That's it. Martin Kofor on a push. 1-1 for the Lions. And the 1-1, if successful, could tie the game.
And this is that kind of a situation where you really potentially are converting 4 points here, because Marshall gave up their opportunity for 2, and they're putting an excellent free thrower at the line for his opportunity to gain 2. And of course that could be a 4-point spread. At this stage it becomes very critical.
Dennis Broadneck's checked in for Harvey for the Lions, and Ivan Stone. There's Luther Bedford staring at Ivan Stone, who's about to shoot a 1 bonus, a 69% foul shooter. And it's home.
Well, I don't think he's missed any, has he, in the last 2 days? He's 15 for 15, I believe.
Stone has 13.
12 of 12 yesterday.
3 for 3 today, I believe.
Right.
That's 15 straight, 16 straight free throws by Ivan Stone. This game is tied. And now, timeout on the court. 4:15 left. And we've got ourselves one honey of a ball game. Stay with us. And Peoria High have battled, and it's tied, and Marshall has the ball. The Lions have outscored the Commandos 9-3 in the final period to come back from 10 points behind to tie at 45. In the backcourt, Broadnex goes after Upshaw and fouls him. Upshaw was streaking toward the sidelines, and Broadnex there, 5'9" junior who comes off the bench.
And now Marshall's on the bonus, so both ball clubs will be shooting bonus free throws the rest of the way.
Upshaw is a 69% free throw shooter. Has not tried a free throw in this game. He has 6. Perfect.
That's called a silencer.
Marshall by 1, 4:09. Upshaw is 1 out of 2. Rice saves it inbounds to Marshall.
Great play. Great
effort.
heads-up play.
Rice made a sensational play. And Marshall has a 1-point lead, and they keep the ball. Upshaw to the left. Nixon. Oh, Stiffen's alone. He's all by himself for an easy two-pointer. Joe Stiffen.
Shot.
He has 10, and now Marshall by 3, but there's still 3:40. The Lions must answer again. Now let's see who they go to. They call a set play. Broadneck starts to the left. 3.5 minutes in the game. And there's Weisinger inside to Stone. He steps in, lost the handle, and Marshall has the ball and a 3-point lead. Big play there, and a big now advantage for the Commandos. Well, they answered the challenge of Peoria. Oh, look at the play by Weisinger, but he fouled, and Weisinger thought he had it.
On the steal, we'll see Weisinger get more hand than ball, and he just, you know, probably from between the elbow and the wrist, got a good chunk of the arm there as well as the ball. Would have been a key steal.
Coach Fisher asked the official, how'd you see it? It was a blur. 3:13 to go. There is sideline action, 48-45, Marshall. And once again, that man, Upshaw. Got it down. Marshall by 4.
Anthony's mind is only on one thing, and it has been the last 3 times, the last 3 free throws that he shot, and they've been bingo perfect. Great concentration.
There's a whistle. Here's a violation. The man in the back moved after the ball was handed to the free thrower. A violation, Coach.
Yes, and that's considered part of the free throw lane area. And, of course, the fans in the assembly hall, I'm sure, are a little bit baffled by what happened there. And it's one of those unfortunate things. And it could have a factor, a bearing on the later on outcome of the game.
It sure could. Tim Williams throws one up. It goes out. He rebounds, and a jump ball. The rebound with him there was Kevin Rice. Rice is 6'4", Williams maybe 5'10". So the advantage will go to the Commandos on the jump ball in height. 3:02 to play. As it stands now, the Central Lions need 2 possessions to tie if you figure a 2-point trip. The ball is batted for the Marshall goal. Dowdy goes all the way. He's fouled, and he's fouled by Harvey. He didn't get the hoop, but he will shoot 2, I'm sure.
It's a wonder to me that he even got the ball up in the air with that kind. We'll see the tip here, and it's a heads-up tip on the part of the Marshall player who got it in the right place, but how he ever got that shot off, I'll never know, because that Central player was riding him all the way.
Kevin Rice had such a height advantage that he got a whole hand on the ball and sent it about 15 feet ahead of the running Michael Dowdy. Dowdy is trying his first free throw of the game, his first 2 for that matter. And we're just under the 3-minute mark. And Marshall leads by 5.
Marshall kids have gone to the line with just total intensity and concentration, which is, of course, what the name of the game is with in free throw shooting. It's a mental thing.
They've done what they've had to do. And 2 for Michael Dowdy. Marshall by 6. Can Central come back? They've got 2:55 to try.
Looking at that half-court trap once again, which Central has been handling very well throughout the course of the second half.
Central doesn't look hurried, even though the clock has a stingy 2:43 left. The lob is inside to Hansen. Weisinger a pull-up. Oh, is he a shooter? Timeout Central. 51-47 with 2:34. And their officials recognize the timeout with 2:34 to go. We'll be back in just a minute. This game is on the table. 51-47, Chicago Marshall in white, the lead in the ball. Peoria Central trying to turn it over.
Ooh.
Williams tried to pick up a charge. 2:23. Nervous assembly hall. Mixon's in the lane. He's free. He's open, and he got it in. And that's a big 21 points for Mixon. 6 points advantage now for Marshall. Central must hurry. 2:09 inside. Lamont Hansen went to the left hand.
Boy, exchanged hands beautifully on that.
8 for Lamont. 2 minutes left. Marshall by 4. The Lions looking for a turnover. Marshall looking to control it. Mixon again. Good again. Mixon in the clutch delivered. 23, and he's the player of the game for Marshall.
He had that look in his eye.
Stone turns to the hoop, puts it up and in. And Central answers on offense. 138, 4-point difference.
This is the critical possession.
Here's a whistle and a foul on Tim Williams. He fouled Michael Dowdy. There's Tim. 1:32 left. Marshall by 4 points.
Probably not the foul that Coach Fisher wanted in this kind of a situation, because the tempo right now is favoring Central. To put them at the line as well as they're shooting free throws and the great intensity that we alluded to, I think is probably not the thing they want to do.
Michael Dowdy, a 73% foul shooter, just knocked in 2 moments ago. Not a lot of arch, but nothing but net.
All net, great concentration.
Now Marshall with 132 by 5. And 6.
He willed that one in.
Now the Lions are really looking down the barrel. Weisinger. Harvey's outside. Weisinger fires it up. Good!
Oh.
What a shot! 57-53 with 1:15, 18 for Weisinger. And he was almost out of the building. I couldn't even see him.
In any one of the college leagues, that would have been a 3-point play.
There's a long pass to Mixon, and he's just been Mr. Everything. He's got the ball. 1:05 to play in the game. Marshall by 4. Steal by Weisinger. Foul by Weisinger. One and bonus coming again.
Tony's trying everything he can to get to rally his team back into the a 2-point situation, which could develop here if they miss on the front end of the 1-and-1.
3 fouls on Weisinger. Insignificant at 1:02 unless we have OT. Very important free throws. It's Dowdy again. He's delivered 4 in a row. Missed it. Well, Lamont Hansen was fouled on the rebound, and we're going to go the other end. Foul is on Rice. A big turnaround there.
Well, here again, we're looking at a critical 4-point exchange potentially with taking away the 2 free throws here and fouling down here under your own basket with... Here we see the bad roll that the ball took as far as Central is concerned. Of course, the foul that occurred, it probably was the kind of thing that shouldn't happen here.
1:01 to play.
Rice has 4 fouls now, Frank. That could be pivotal. He and Stiffen are both riding with 4.
Hansen missed it. Out of bounds to Central. Hansen missed the front end of a 1 and bonus. And Marshall holds a 4-point lead, and there's 59 seconds left.
We still have a full fat minute to go here.
Central looks for a score. Harvey.
It's going to go inside.
Harvey shoots, and he missed the works. Stone rebounds and scores. 2-point game, 50 seconds. Stone has 18. Here comes Marshall. Upshaw in the middle to Stiffen. 4 corners, 40 seconds. Marshall by 2.
He needs help.
Dowdy is double dribble. The ball to the Lions, double dribble. 36 seconds. The benches are in a frenzy on both sides. 36 seconds. You see the clock. There it was in your corner, and now the score. What a basketball game. Only one will go to the title game, and one will be heartbroken. And Stiffen is fouled out. Stiffen is gone. Country Companies Insurance and the nearly 1,000 Country Companies agents in Illinois are happy to be co-sponsoring these outstanding basketball telecasts, and we hope you're enjoying our presentation. Don't forget, we'll have the girls' title games next week. Stiffen has fouled out at Assembly Hall with 29 seconds to go, and his team ahead by 2. And there is a great athlete. see. It's important to see who's shooting the free throws. Tim Williams, I believe. Williams is going to be the shooter. He's a 52 for, there goes Stiffen out.
To a well-deserved ovation.
For sure. One of the great athletes in the state. Kofor is in. And now there'll be a timeout with 29 seconds. And there's your scoreboard clock and the score. And we'll be back. One of your network sponsors is 9 seconds. Marshall leading by 2. Peoria Central going to the foul line. Going there, senior Tim Williams, 24. His season's average at the foul line, 52%. He's made his only attempt in the game.
What could be critical here, too, is the rebound.
He made the first one, and the game is 1 point difference. A test of the central nervous system.
Particularly right now, if in the event of a missed shot.
A 1 point lead for Marshall and the ball. 26 seconds. The Commandos trying to hold off the charging Peoria High Lions. 19 seconds. 1 point game. Whistle. Offensive foul. Nixon. The Lions have a chance to win the game. The foul is on Mixon. You see Luther Bedford, who is stunned. And the Lions turn it over.
I don't know what more we can ask for in terms of excitement. It's all here, and the script is here.
16. Marshall by 1, but Central has the ball. 12.
A box and 1 right now. They've gone to a box and 1, and of course Weisinger is being shadowed on the box and 1, and he wants the ball.
He's got it.
Could boil down to an offensive rebound right now.
Williams shot it in and won. The game is over. Central wins. Central wins 58-57. Williams shot it in at the gun. I don't believe it. Final score in an astonishing game. Peoria High Lions 58. The great Commandos
in state tournament competition, very reminiscent of course, the Laird Smith situation with Morgan Park. But this one, of course, takes Peoria Central into the title game. The shot occurred with 1 second, as we can see on the clock, and pandemonium as a result.
One of your network sponsors is John Deere. Wanted in a game and more as Peoria Central miraculously pulls out a victory over Chicago Marshall at the final buzzer. There were 2 plays that were really critical at the end. One's a charging foul here, Coach.
Here we see a charging foul that was drawn by Peoria Central. He did what he had to do, and of course the collision occurred. The official was right on the call, made the call that he had to make.
That then gave, of course, the Lions the ball back.
Which turned the ball over, of course, and we're looking at one of the great dramatic moments of state tournament competition, at least from Central's point of view, for sure. And Williams vindicated himself on the missed second free throw earlier in a great fashion, a rather dramatic. I call this a thumper.
Absolutely heart-stopping game. And let's take a look now at the individual scoring for the losing Commandos of Marshall. Mixon with a magnificent 23-point effort. Stiffen with 10. Dowdy with 14. Upshaw with 8. And Martin Kofer with 2. But Mixon with a great game, 23. For the Lions of Central, good balance, led by Stones, 18, with Weisinger, 18 outside. Williams, Timmy Williams, 14, and the one that won the game. And Lamont Henson has number 8. And we'll take a breather.
Your network sponsors are John Deere, where you'll find big savings on lawn and garden equipment right now at your participating John Deere dealer. Country Companies Insurance and the nearly 1,000 Country Companies agents located throughout the state of Illinois. And DeKalb Pfizer Genetics, with more than 1,100 dealers in the state, supplying Illinois farmers with a full line of quality seed products.
This is the Assembly Hall in Champaign-Urbana, and we're live on Final Four Day as we present the 1983 Boys Class AA Illinois State Basketball Championships. And now there are four. In game one today, favored Chicago Marshall takes on super quick Peoria Central, and then strong Thornton of Harvey hits head-on with Springfield Lanphier, with the winners playing for the big prize tonight. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and we welcome you to semifinal day of the Class AA tournament. In game one, we have two lightning quick teams, Peoria and Marshall, with both having won 27 games. In game two, two very strong teams with 28 wins apiece. We remind you that in 1977, the final game was played between Peoria Central and Springfield Lanphier. Will that happen again? Certainly, Harvey of Thornton and Marshall will have a lot to say about that. For more on our first semifinal game, let's go to the bench with Art Kimball and Coach Ron Nikovich.
Thank you very much, Frank Fasoni. And Ron, good morning to you.
Good morning, Art. Good to be here again.
Should be a great semifinal session. Let's just get right into it on this Peoria Central Marshall game and spotlight a couple of young men, a couple of the small guys who make things go. First, Tony Weisinger from Peoria Central. What's your reaction to Weisinger?
Tony Weisinger, I think, came into the tournament relatively an unknown quantity here, but after his 13 points and 5 assists and 5 steals and 5 for 5 from the free throw line and superb quickness, why he lit up the Assembly Hall fast.
He's going to be a big factor. Yesterday scored 13 points. Then on the Marshall side, of course, the Valley who goes to their 6'3" standout Joe Stiffen. But the fact remains Michael Dowdy is one of the young men who really makes it go. A 5'10",